Well, let me tell you something, brother. The following Dysfunctional Gaming program was filmed in front of a live Twitch audience.
What's happening? Welcome to Dysfunctional Gaming's Talking DND. I am Thundercat0420. The man with the silver hair over there.
Hello.
Over there is GMPatchNasty. Welcome.
Pay no attention to what my cat's doing on stream. That'll get us banned. Pay no attention. My arm's
Hello,
in the way now.
Valexian.
Hello. How are you?
Welcome. We are going to be talking today about the player side of things, and we're going to be talking about abilities, your character's abilities, and what they do. Patch?
Yes. Abilities.
What do they do?
Well, when you get down to the actual base stats, you can compare it to fruit salad. But when you're looking at actual skills, that's where you start to realize how these ability scores attach to these abilities. Like dexterity is also linked to acrobatics. So when I think of strength versus dex, flex versus dex is typically how it works in my mind. And then there's intelligence and wisdom, where you have history, which is an intelligence-based skill, or insight. History would be that you would know that there's never been a tomato in a fruit salad, and insight is to know not to put a tomato in a fruit salad, in a sense of speaking. But then also you have nature, which is intelligence. You have medicine, which is wisdom. Those ones I've always kind of thought about. I'm like,
nature, you know that it's a tomato.
Exactly. Yeah. And medicine is
medicine. You know. Yes. Go ahead.
You're wise enough to know that a tomato will not heal that wound. But there are a lot of abilities on there. I'm glad that they have them alphabetized because it's a lot easier. If they had them next to each of your ability scores, like the abilities like strength and then acrobatics next to it, it would kind of be a little bit easier in my mind. But
you can get character sheets like that.
I know. But for the base one, you think they would have it like that. But they have it the simple other way once you get used to it. But abilities, typically, like what we'll be doing later, you give them a read, figure out how can I work this into a conversation with my DM, and how can I bullshit my way into saying that, can I deceive this man into believing that I'm actually a foot taller than I really am? I'm just under a magical spell.
Can I make this person believe that if they eat the tomato in the fruit salad, it will be good for them?
Correct. Something like that. But there's always the persuasion versus deception. Then you can also, it's more of a role player versus someone who's new. People will try to say things in character if they're very role player like me, and then the DM will be like, oh, he's trying to say that I want to persuade this guy without actually saying the word persuade. But I've felt in the past, being a new player, saying the skill actually helps the brain work. To be like, oh, how can I think like he's thinking? How can I bullshit my way into saying this is a performance-based check as opposed to an intimidation?
Right. Well, that's a cool thing about the skills and abilities, that you can kind of mix and match them now. They have those give me a strength-based intimidation check. So if you're proficient in intimidation, but you're not good at charisma checks, you can do a strength one because a barbarian, exactly, and that's what I wanted to do when I was playing Can-Do. So
I just thought of one. You could be a circus juggler, and you could make a performance-based intimidation check. If you're not even proficient in intimidation, you could be like, "Oh, I used to throw axes in the circus."
You mean dexterity check, a dexterity-based performance check, because you can't do an intimidation-based performance check because it's both charisma.
Yeah, sure is.
I understand patch, so we could get it. I could translate for you. Yes, they're good at juggling, so they're good at dexterity, and I want to be able to. I'm a knife thrower as well, so I want to use my dexterity to intimidate that person, so I can throw the knives real quick around their heads or against the wall by their hand.
I want to just miss him. I want to have him give him a little bit of a haircut, give him a little bit off the side.
He's dealing cards, and I want him to throw the card and have the knife go into the card before it hits the table, like that kind of stuff.
That would be dope.
Mm-hmm. I think I like Gambit.
Yeah. All right, we could do a whole X-Men episode, but we'll keep going.
We could do a superhero episode. We could do heroes, villains, and rivals.
That's another podcast. Stay on brand, everybody.
Where we do talk a little bit about D&D. Skill checks. Oh, don't sneeze. I talked about it. You're not going to do it. Look up at the light if you really want to. Got him.
It's gonna be out of nowhere. I'm not even gonna know it's gonna come. Go on, skills challenge. Go on.
Skill checks. Those are ability checks that are based on those skills. Now we talked about the intimidation check or a athletics check or acrobatics. Those types of things. Those are all skill checks. So your DM might ask you to roll an acrobatics check to run up the stairs and jump off the wall to jump to the next staircase. If you're a rogue or a dexterity-based character, you're probably going to have a good chance of making it. There are also very bad crit fails that can happen. So
they're funny. Let them happen.
Yeah, so you might not do something correctly because of that, but that's why the role playing. When I say role playing, there I mean the dice role playing is fun sometimes. It makes the game interesting. So, but you'll have a better shot. You'll have if it's a low DC, it could be only 5, and you have a 4. You still roll a 1. You could have a 5 there. You did it. Because you're good at dexterity. Like, that's possible as well. So the skill checks are just based off of those abilities that we're going to get a little bit more into. So talk about strength and the skills that go with it.
The one, athletics. The only strength-based skill.
Yep.
So athletics. From a player's perspective, you could be describing, let's say you're infiltrating a warehouse and you don't bring a crowbar, and you need to find the sacred MacGuffin of Megeki items to proceed to the next part of the quest. And you want to tear off the tops of boxes. As a DM, I would go, okay. I would roll a dice, and then I would ask you to make an athletics check. And then, if let's say it's a box, it's wooden, probably nailed shut. I would say if you're a level 2 character, that's probably a 13, depending on who's doing it. That's run of the mill. I'm not going to look at Tomo because Tomo has no strength. We're going to go with this stat block because it has a +2. That's a 13. Boom. Box is cracked open. You could also be trying to run. You could be trying to scale or arm wrestling competitions. That's always a fun one. Grappling is also a very, very commonly used thing for your athletics. Swimming checks are also athletics based sometimes, depending on your DM. If you have a nice DM. Yeah, climbing.
Valexian, getting a splinter from when you tear the box lids off is quite possible if you roll really bad.
I passed. I passed if I would have, if I rolled
a 1, it could have been real bad.
I would have probably given myself a splinter and then a point of damage. But
if you're depending on the DM,
depends on the DM. Depends on what I have planned.
A point of damage is like it could be stubbing your toe at that point. If you're getting a splinter and calling it a damage. So now we have like the saving throws. When do when do the saving throws come into play, like in strength? Like, how does it's mostly from a DM's perspective. If the DM would probably tell you just to make a saving throw if a creature hits them or something, right?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever. It's either inconsequential actions by your spellcasting member of your party, and you just happen to be in said area where you have to make said saving throw, or the DM is trying to do something, or let's say there's a spell that's been cast. Most saving throws are always done from the DM side, unless you're in combat and just so happen to be in the range of that spell that's going off, and you don't have an evocation warlock or wizard.
Well, yeah, and then also you got to think that some of your class options will give you things that make people make saving throws, but you don't need to roll on that. That's against the creature.
Typically, the only thing that you would roll if you're forcing someone to make a saving throw is you just roll your damage and tell them to make a saving throw, and then you're either going to say, okay, and they take no damage or all the damage, or half damage.
Or you're grappled if you're trying to grapple, push type stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that's, once again, is not a skill that you're actively trying to pursue. If you were trying to grapple someone, you'd be doing a strength check, an athletics check. Well, an athletics check is a strength-based check, so but depending on the DM.
Depending on your DM
and the enemy.
Depending on your DM, it's, do I want to give them that little bit of proficiency bonus?
Right.
Because if you're not proficient in it, it's basically a strength.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah, exactly. So
if you are proficient in it, that's an extra +2, +3, +4.
I think you should do it as an athletics check for each player. It doesn't matter who, and then that way that person that put into their athletics gets that bonus. They deserve it because that's how they built their character. It sucks sometimes as a DM to be like, oh, well, I really put this trap in here, but of course the guy with the really good athletics got out of it before anything happened or something. And you can't do that as a DM. You want your characters, your players to succeed. You want them to succeed. You want a challenge, but that's why they build their characters this way. One of them's going to pass, 3 of them might fail, and that one that passes saves the day. Like, that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Hero moments.
Yep. And that's what you want. You want them to have fun, and you want the game to continue.
So, dexterity-based ones. What are we going to talk about those?
Dexterity. Those are like quick moves, being acrobatic, moving your hands quickly, like a sleight of hand check. What else we got? There's
also the inverse of that, as opposed to being quick. There's also being quiet.
The stealth. Yes, quiet. Yes. You can move your feet tiptoe better than other people.
Mm-hmm.
You can get to corners quickly, and they don't see you jump across the hole, the hallway to the dark shadow area behind the cardboard.
As soon as you put that fucking, you stand in front of that bush, you're invisible. You are a tree.
Yeah, or you put the cardboard box on you, like in Metal Gear.
Snake. Yep.
Yeah.
Constitution has none.
Just saving throw.
Yep.
Basically, you're only going to do Constitution saving throws when you're running for a while, or swimming for a while, or drinking poison, or being mind melded. Like, there's a lot of... What's that?
Trying to stay concentrating on a spell.
Oh, yes, and concentrating on spells. Yes. Those things are like your constitution, how well you can fight back from these things, how well you can hold your breath, how well...
# boot and rally.
Yes, exactly. If you're a dwarf, you get bonus on constitution saves against poison. So, dwarves are hardy little men and women.
Hooray, advantage. Here comes the fun skills.
Exactly.
So,
give me another con save. So moving on to the wisdom, right? Is that next, or
no?
Intelligence.
Intelligence. This is where we get brainy.
I don't have my character sheet up. I know I'm trying to go from my
OG baby. This is the character sheet from yesterday. This is basically Carlin.
Oh, I have one right here.
Right. Carlin is not a gnome on my Monday game. She is a Pandurcerin, and she's a little trash panda. He is only 3 years old, but that's like 8.
All right, intelligence. You have Arcana, History, Investigation, Nature, and Religion.
All about knowing things.
What's that?
There's moments like you see a strange symbol on a doorway, and you go, do I know what that means? Then your DM will go, make this check, and then you'll know something's up, typically.
Yeah, so, and at Arcana, you'll be able to tell if it's something magical.
Or a trap.
Or not. Or a trap, yep. A magical trap.
Or what tool of magic, or if it's a famous wizard sigil.
Yeah. The history check would be something like, oh, I've seen this symbol before. You remember this symbol. You saw it back when you were in university studying to be a smart wizard. And look at that. Your lore, all the work you did, you recognize this symbol.
This
if you
symbol
do well.
is... Yep. And then what are we going down to next? History,
investigation.
Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, you notice that symbol.
Yep, you behind that symbol, you see a faint little plate that you can push. You want to push it? No, I don't. I want to check if the trap's now.
Because of that history check, you know that symbol means do not push.
Yep.
So you're really smart.
Then you got nature. That's a plant symbol. Nature, like knowing whether that plant is either, if you're in the Tomb of Annihilation module, knowing if that plant is carnivorous or a plant that's not going to kill you.
Yeah, is it going to wrap you up and try to stuff you inside of it?
Is it a tricolor frond that is going to TPK your level 2 party? That I was like, wow, this could kill like 3 level 2s. It's a plant.
It also helps you with animals and studying like landscapes. You can know that some things like, oh, these trees aren't supposed to be in this kind of, they're not supposed to be in this area, or hey, that desert is in an odd spot. Why is it in the middle of the frozen tundra?
Oh yeah, okay, time to leave. That's Blue Dragon. I'm out.
So yeah, that's the stuff that nature can do for you. Religion.
That symbol, that 5-headed dragon-like symbol, you would know that is the Queen of Dragons. That is Tiamat, mother of all. Holy, I don't know. Like religion, you know what the symbol means. You can certain lores or ritualistic things, like putting pennies on people's eyes.
Yeah, you see a man of some sort of religion, cloth, if you will, walking down the street, and you notice that the symbol he has on his garb is for Bahamut, and you go, oh, that's what you roll to see if that's a Bahamut symbol, and you go, yeah, that is a Bahamut symbol. Well, I'm going to go talk to him because he has information for us, or that type of kind of thing with religion. And yeah, you also can maybe find some things out in dungeons, symbols and
lore
different
on dungeons with religion and history are probably the coolest things you could ever give. Like that's the opportunity for your DM to explain why this dungeon is where, and do that
what
all
he
the
built.
Time. Exactly.
Roll to see if it's a chili symbol. That's right, DD. Roll to see if it's a chili symbol, and if you can tell if it's a Chilean or not.
That's right.
Moving on, we get wisdom now.
Knowing whether or not to put a tomato in a fruit salad. Starting off,
you got your animal handling.
Oh, animal handling! I forgot. That's if you're not trained to drive the wagon, your DM will ask you to make an animal handling check. If to ride a horse, your DM will ask you to make an animal handling check. If you are trying to pet a dog or come up to a stray dog, you will be asked to make an animal handling check. If you are working with animals, you will be asked to make an animal handling check. It's a very cut and dry skill.
Yep, that's right. And sometimes you will be like, hey, some gnomes can understand small creatures, or furbolgs actually can understand the temperament of the small creatures, but can't understand what they're saying. So you could say, hey, do I understand what that animal is saying? And you say, hey, give me an animal handling check to see if you can get the gist of what he's trying to give to you. And you're like, okay, yeah.
On the flip side of that, you might also be asked to make an insight check. That is typically to know, like, to gain, does this seem right? Is this on the level? This seems logical, right? Everything makes sense. That's an everything's okay check. That's literally what I like to think is the insight check. From a DM's perspective.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh my god. Try and like act out your insight checks, because as a DM, I hate being. Can I make it like as soon as someone says insight check? It's like, come on. First of all, the DC is gonna be real high because you just met him. You really just met him, so you have absolutely no gauge on this guy. But it's always the little subtle things. Like if your character's always like touching their face when they meet new people and while they're listening and listening intently, I'll be like, all right, you're the person who can always do that insight check, and I won't even question it because I know that you are questioning everything around you.
Right. I was thinking it more like, well, as a DM, from a DM's point of view, it's I use it a lot for contradicting stories between players.
Yup.
And I try to, we'll get to the charisma, but persuasion and deception. If a DM's trying to persuade you from a player, persuade one of the players, they'll tell you a bunch of stuff, and a player will say, I want to make an insight check on that player. On the NPC. And you say, okay, well, roll your insight, and then I would roll my persuasion or my deception, depending on what my character is trying to do, NPC is trying to say to them. And so I use that the same way for my players. If I tell a player something that they're not supposed to tell the rest of the group, it's more of like their backstory or something that is going to push the story forward or something along that line. They'll say something out loud, and the other player will be like, I don't believe you. I'll say, hey, make an insight check, and the other player that said the thing will make a persuasion or a deception, depending on. And I won't tell them to make a deception check. I won't tell them to make a persuasion check. I'll say, make the check that you're using. Are you trying to persuade them into this, or are you trying to deceive them? Because that's gonna make the difference in the long run. I don't want to know. Well, I don't want the table to know if you're trying to deceive them or persuade them. I
just
want
tell
you to
me the number, and typically I already know if you're lying to them. Or
yes,
not.
exactly.
I've been taking notes, and I already know that you're lying your teeth off. So just tell me the number.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else on insight?
No.
Anything else on insight?
Nope.
All right,
Nope.
We got medicine.
Medicine checks are very underrated. If you have proficiency in a healer's kit, always have one. Be proficient in medicine, because if you don't have someone who can stabilize someone on the field when they're dying, and you have someone who can make a decent medicine check, you will save that character. That you will become that person's best friend, because I'm going to be real to you all players. Once, like, levels 1 through 5 are kind of, I got a whole bunch of paper and a bunch of ideas. Once I hit level 5, I'm kind of attached.
Yep.
But medicine checks can save a player in the long run. Like, let's say you're a cleric and everybody else is like, you just killed a dragon. 3 people are clutching to life, and you only have 2 health potions. Boom, boom, 2 potions down, and you can try and stabilize that other character. It's
Valaxian, I would actually say, is medicine or survival for danger of poisonous plants. I would say that it's either nature or survival.
Survival. Yeah, nature or survival.
Medicine would be to tell if that. First, I would make you make a nature check to tell if it was poisonous or not, and then I would make you make a medicine check if you thought you could use it to help heal something.
Or weaponize it.
Or a salve.
Yeah.
Like some sort of cream to put on your wound. That's how, medicine-wise. Or chew on it, and it makes you stay awake for an extra hour or something. Like, it gives you more energy. Like, that kind of stuff, I'd make you make a medicine check for that. But survival would be to tell if this is supposed to be, I don't know, like, I guess it would be more survival nature for danger.
Ultimately, it boils down to your DM. It depends. Yeah. Like, first of all, your DM should know the party's stats and have it on a paper, anything written down. So if they want to do a skills challenge, they can write things out for the skills that they want to use, and then for the times if they're used in a creative way, they can adapt on the fly. Because there's only so much you can adapt on the fly as a DM, and it's the same way as a player. Like once you hit that mental wall, you're just like, oh god, what skill am I going to use next? I don't know. But it's the delicate balance between player to DM.
Right. All right, moving on for medicine, because that took a while for some reason. Medicine's kind of important.
It's insight. These three are always like the insight and or wisdom and intelligence are always the two skills where you can go either way. Charisma, on the other hand, I think that's where perception. We're on perception now.
Yeah, we have perception and survival.
Perception. I see things.
It's more than that. I like where you're going, but it's more than that. It's not even just seeing; it's hearing. It's smelling. It's
perceiving.
tasting. Yeah, you see, perceiving all these different things. Yes. Then there's the passive perception, but you actually have all passive. You can have all passive ability scores, but on your character sheet, there's always a passive perception because your DM will just be like, "Oh, that man has an 18 passive perception. He's going to see this anyways." It's not that important for them to actually make an active perception check. But it's
more utilized for dungeons.
Right. An active perception check now would be like, "Hey, I'm looking for someone selling bread while I'm at the town market, and it's a busy town market. There's a lot of people out there, and you can't see the bread thing. Give me a perception check." And you give me a perception check, and you do well. You'll be able to see over a crowd. The crowd will part a little bit, and you'll see that the bread stand's over there. You don't do well. You're going to be asking your friend to, "Hey, can you take a look? I can't see that bread stand." So that's how I see it when it comes to active perception. Or maybe, "Hey, can I smell the bread?" And then you're like, "Oh, I can kind of follow that instead." That might give you a better chance. Use both of your senses to help you find that. So
maybe you might be a monstrous type race and have advantage on smell checks.
Right. Well, like most medicines most medicines are poisons, and under certain circumstances, like that's true. But Valexium, for the point of the D&D game, medicine is made for like telling if someone was hurt or if something would be beneficial for your body to help you. And like to find out if something was poison, you'd have to do a nature check or a survival more likely than medicine. I think, in my mind, at least as a DM, that's what I would say.
It depends on what you're skilled in and what have you feel like rolling at that time.
And also it depends on how you go about the whole thing. Crazy. Like, yeah, you see someone grab the thing and they eat it, and then they get sick because of it, and you're like, "Oh, well, yeah, it's probably poison." But if you wanted to actually know if it was poison, you'd have to go and like make the check then for either nature or survival. In my head, I don't know. Moving on, survival checks. Survival checks. You just basically want to know, hey, I want to try to hunt something. I'd like to go out into the woods and look for a deer or an elk. You go out there, I'd make you make a survival check to track. Hopefully you could find something or see some tough fur on the... I mean, you'd also be doing perception checks and investigation checks as well along the way, but basic survival check would be to do that. Maybe to find a spot that's good for a camp, because you know that it's up against the rock and the wind's going to be blowing northwest, and that rock will... foraging for food, exactly. Finding berries and nuts for the night, or cutting down some trees for a fire, and knowing that wood's going to last longer than the other kind of wood. That'd be little things like that are going to come in handy if you're trying to really spruce up your role playing. Anything else on survival from you?
No, I don't like wisdom based checks. I never have. I really don't. Because it's like, we'll just move on to charisma, and I'll talk about that on a different episode.
Deception.
Yeah, charisma.
Go.
I'm lying, and you know it. Yeah,
But you don't know it because you rolled bad.
Yeah, exactly. Because you don't know nothing. Because you're not wise. Insight.
Haha, insight. Wisdom checks.
Yep.
Yeah, deception is when you want to deceive someone, when you want to tell someone that you don't have that golden locket that was sitting on the table 5 seconds earlier. And they go,
Deception
well,
is when,
I don't believe you.
deception is when you have 90 gold on your warlock and you make the rest of the party pay for the wagon that you have to use that you know ultimately you're not going to end up keeping for the rest of the game.
Yep.
Sorry, pardon.
Yep. That's how it goes. I mean, anything else for deception?
No. I mean, deception's real cut and dry. I mean, you can spin it however you want to spin it. Like you could make a charisma based deception check if you're playing like 3-card money. If you want to do like those type of checks, like not have it be sleight of hand, and you're like doing it for a bard, like he's talking to misdirect you, and that's his see. It's the DM player relationship. Anyway, intimidation.
But can you deceive yourself?
Yeah, I can.
Yes, you can make characters to have split personalities.
Oh, absolutely.
Hey, Johnny told Jimmy that he didn't have it, and Jimmy believed him. Who's Jimmy? I'm Jimmy. Who's Jim? Who's Johnny? I'm Johnny. What?
Yeah. No. Huh? Okay.
Intimidation.
That's when you're trying to bully. That's bullying. That's a bully check.
I'm big and scary. You better give me that gold coin that you took from.
Or when you look at someone and say, "Oak or pine?" Which oak or pine? Oh no, I'm just asking for the casket maker when we kill you.
Yeah, that's a good intimidation.
And not having to be big and scary about it. That's just flexing because I'm going to stab you and you're not going to do anything about it.
Yeah, you're just very sure of yourself. You know it's going to happen. Intimidate.
The perfect non-threatening charisma intimidation check. If you've ever seen The Dark Knight, do you want to see a magic trick? And you just put the pencil down and then it proceeds to go crazy. Because that's an intimidation check right there. It's like, all right, this man's crazy. Their insight roll was low.
Performance. All right, give me a check.
Hold on.
+4.
Oh, that's 7.
He's not very good.
No.
He didn't do very good.
Nope. It's playing instruments, singing, painting, however your DM wants to spin it.
You could do some stuff like even maybe use a performance check to deceive someone instead.
Cooking. There was a lot of performance checks with cooking.
I had a cooking show built for them to play. I also played a cook for half a series, half a campaign.
Half a series, yeah. That's what D&D is. It's not. It's a TV.
It's just another. Well, yeah. Every time you play, there's still someone from one of the series before that's coming back. We got the last but not least persuasion.
I'm not lying to you.
Actually, not last, but not last. I got one more check.
Okay. Performance check, persuasion check. That's usually when I'm trying to get people to go along with my way of thinking. I'm trying to get myself a better choice. I'm trying to talk myself up. That's how I do performance checks or persuasion checks, or I'm just trying to get my way. But persuasion can be.
If you could be truthful and tell people like, hey, this is the thing. Like, I'm telling you this right now. It's the truth. And you should believe me because it's the truth. And everyone's like, I don't believe them. You're like, roll a persuasion check. See if they believe you. If they don't believe you, that's why, that we can make up why at that point. Or yes, please don't put those spiders in my bed. That's true. That's a good persuasion.
Yeah, please don't do that to me. I would prefer not to go to jail.
Please don't beat me while I'm sleeping.
Daddy, no!
So yeah, that would be the persuasion. My final check is actually a dexterity check. dexterity-based check called initiative. We missed
that's
it.
a good one.
Initiative is actually a skill check. So if you're a rogue and you get the whole what's it? One of those.
Oh, you mean if you're a bard?
Is it a bard too?
Jack of all trades.
Jack of all trades. That's what it is.
Yeah.
You get you can update your initiative as well because it is an ability.
Yeah, it's half your proficiency bonus rounded down. So let's say right now,
because you're not proficient in it, you could be proficient in it too.
Can you?
I don't know. I think you can add the proficiency through a feat, and that's it.
No, because the feat doesn't even give you proficient. It just gives you a +5.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't think you can ever get. Well, no, because now we're just going to try and break D&D. We'll just have a whole episode where we're not even a player or a D. We're just a player trying to break the game. We'll do that.
We'll do that. That'll be late. That'll be real late when we're running out of things to do.
Running out of things to do with D&D. What? We could talk about all our backstories in D&D. What do we talk about next?
Oh, actually, speaking of that, we should talk about. We just did all the ability and skill checks. That was the vocab. And yeah, we're going to talk about your vocab. Do you have any vocab?
I had a little one. We covered it quickly. Passive skills. You see the big one that says passive perception. Your DMs can also be really, really sly because your passive, you can just have a passive on everything and not ever have your players roll dice. You can have a passive investigation, so you start seeing traps more. You can have a passive insight, so you know when people are lying to you. If this person always rolls a 10 when they're lying to me, but this person has a passive insight of 11, he's going to know. He's going to start hearing those ticks. So I'll start keying in on players like that. Passive athletics, I don't really believe in because you're naturally strong. You already have a number for that.
Right.
It's typically the bottom 3 that I usually like. A passive history, like that's how much your brain's already stored.
Yeah, you already know that stuff. So yeah, what's the point of having someone roll all the time if they're gonna pass your check?
Exactly. Yeah, it's the things. If it's a trick for a DM. If you want your players to know something, don't have them roll for it. If you don't want them to know something, have them roll for it. But you don't have to have numbers to it. But passives are a way to still have numbers to it, and if they want to have it, then they can just do it. But yeah, that's all I want to say on it. We talked about it a little bit.
Passive acrobatics.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm usually
reflexes. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that could be true.
I typically parkour run.
You also got to think like passive acrobatics. Like you could say, "Oh, well, I know I'm gonna have I know my rogue is gonna be able to jump out of the way of half of my attacks when I do this. Why have him roll every time? I'll just be like, I'll roll and I'll go, okay, you're good.
It moves the things. It moves combat, moves storytelling along.
Yeah, combat takes a while, so if you can move it, if you can create ways to make it a little quicker on your players, I mean, all the power to you. All right, let's talk about some past experiences with some ability checks before we get to our first break.
All right.
Times things went bad / good.
Oh, you mean Barondir, the monk who could never pass a fucking stealth check to save his life?
Or the mending?
No, because the mending shouldn't have been a check. That was great.
No, it was a check because you were not supposed to know spells.
My issue was I was proficient in stealth. I had like a +3, so I started off with like a +5, and I would roll really low every time. And it's so funny because I would have these moments where I'd roll like a 98 to fix a telescope with a cantrip that I couldn't even cast. And it's like, I probably just walk really heavy footed, and that's my flaw. And it makes it funny in my mind because I'm this dexterous monk who can run up walls, infiltrating. Nope, don't bring him. Why? He's got like a bag of gold on him or something that always rattles.
Why does he have that pot of pans with the pot and pans in his bag?
Yeah. He just had his bag of round bananas.
Question: passive acrobatics could be considered your natural AC. That's not a bad. That's a pretty cool idea.
Really, technically, that's kind of what it is. It's
pretty close.
If you were proficient in acrobatics, I would if that's how I was running the game, then yeah, I would probably give you a little buff to your AC because you're naturally acrobatic.
Yep.
That's actually that's clever. I like that. Because your natural AC is usually like, if you add 8 plus proficiency would give you my AC. And then if I was I would give that. Yeah.
It's pretty close. Yeah, I mean, you'd just be good at jumping out of the way of some. I would say maybe like maybe you could use that AC against ranged attacks.
Yes, that'd be clever.
Because that's where your acrobatics would come in more handy, I think, than diving and jumping away out of the shots and stuff.
Now, here's my question: if your vision was obscured, would you give that person minuses to their AC because they couldn't see stuff?
Which person?
The person trying to dodge out of the arrows.
Okay.
I mean, they're both going to be at disadvantages. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Who knows? There's a lot going on there.
That's the issue with D&D.
That's a good question. That's a good question to ask your DM during the game, and then hope that he or she's like, nice. Yeah, sure, go ahead. And then they just like brush by it, and then they're like, later on, you don't have any armor on, you're jumping out of the way of shots. And he's like, how do I keep missing you? Remember that time?
Speaking, it would probably be like you could cap off at it because it would be if your patch is 8 plus your proficiency plus your mod. You would cap off at 18. Plus 5, plus 5.
That's still pretty good.
That's still a high AC for nothing. Wearing, your birthday suit.
Yep. But still, you're jumping out of the way of these arrows. I'm rolling 12s and 13s, rolling an 17 every time. And I'm like, how am I not hitting this person? He's wearing no armor.
That's.
What about something that went good?
There was last night. one of the players wanted to go walk over towards the riverbank and see how deep it was, and then rolled 1, as you do, and then fell face first into the current cold water and started to bob downstream. Me being like 2'2" little panda with 50 feet of rope, ran over to the bridge, tied the piece of rope, and then dangled it down so he could catch it. And DM was like, well, make a dexterity-based check. And I was like, fuck. I don't have any pluses to anything on this. Come on, dice, don't screw me. And I rolled a natural 20. And I was like, yes! And then the situation escalated, so he actually caught the rope, and he climbed back up. So he didn't die.
Nice.
Yep. How about you?
Bad. Let's see.
No, give me good first.
Okay, good. I can remember Alston when I rolled really good to get that shield made that I got, that round shield, that Bob that rolled that I used as a basically a canoe the rest of the game. Everything. Like I sat in it and it pulled. I had what's his name pull me along, Traben. Is that was Tabin? Tabin,
yeah. Tabin was the gladiator.
Yeah,
there's also times when you would have Sal pull you.
Yeah, well, I also used it as I got another shield, and I had my shield, and I used both of them to put like on the side on my saddle, so I could have like armor on my side inside the saddle too.
It was clever. It was a clever little thing from a gnome. I was like, you know what? I like this. This is cool.
But also, this is where the bad comes in with the same person. The whole time, I'm trying to tell my party that the elf is evil. He's evil. Why can't anyone believe me? Why won't anyone believe me? I can't figure it out because I couldn't get the insight check to work. And so I kept insight checking and kept losing it. And I just went with it like I do. And it was such a pain in the ass.
It was great. It was great from a DM's perspective. It was great. I felt real bad for you, and I was like, well, this is going to be the highlight of the campaign.
I felt bad for Griff because he had to lie every night. Like every game, he had to just straight up lie to us, and just was like, I can't tell you guys.
Yeah, He even passed the zone of truth, which was the best thing about it too, because he was an elf and he was charm magic.
Okay, let's see. So we're gonna go back to let's see. Umlaut, not too dissimilar, wearing plate armor, running stealth checks. Hear me out. An Aasimar rogue so dashingly handsome that the sound of harps follows him from nowhere, running all his stealth checks against anything that's not a three-headed dog.
What? I like it.
All right, we're gonna go to our break. We have a new promo from Dan and his Evan, and then I think Train Away is still in there somewhere. So we'll be back in like 4 or 5 minutes.
Hi, I'm Dan from Dan's Evan. Come on down to Dan's Evan. We've got all your e-supplies. We've got electronics. We've got ecstasy. We've got elephants. We've got elastics. Oh, hey. I didn't see you there. Welcome. My name's Dan, and this is my Evan. Come on down to Dan's Evan for all your e-supplies and needs. Here, come on in. Let me show you around. As you can see, we've got all kinds of electronics. We've got cameras. Here, that's a good camera. Say cheese. Nice. We have remote controls. There's not a TV in here, but you get the point. Thermometers. Look. You are 50.94 degrees. Or take some of these pills. We also sell these. This is actual E. If you come down here, you see we have cameras also, and flashlights. Yeah, flashlights. See, we also have colored flashlights. See, they're purple. Because who doesn't want a purple flashlight? Who doesn't want one? So don't forget, come on down to Dan's Evan. Conveniently located wherever's convenient.
Has this ever happened to you?
No, Irish. No, Irish. Don't do it. Run away. Run away.
Oh, Jesus.
No.
Have I got a solution for you? Oh, shit, Jesus. Train Away. For all your train repellent needs.
Every year, over 10 million people die of train-related attacks.
This is it, we got him.
That's it.
Get your train away today. It could save your life. Oh god. Oh god.
Oh god.
Oh Jesus.
She got me, guys. She got me. Train away.
Oh Jesus. Oh Jesus.
You're twerking?
Don't let this happen to you.
Before Train Away, I was afraid to go outside for even the mail because of the attacks. But nowadays, I slatted my whole house up with that stuff and I ain't afraid not one bit. Not one bit. Even the lights go out sometimes.
Power's out.
It's them damn trains again.
An application is easy. All you do is just apply to all of your thresholds and let set for 78 hours. And then you're all done. It's that easy. Son of a bitch.
The train's here.
The train's
The
here.
train's here.
The train's here.
Train's here.
It's coming.
You didn't apply it correctly.
You walk
Everyone
through the
huddle.
door. No.
Everybody into a
Huddle,
everyone in a
huddle up for protection.
in the corner.
In the corner.
It can't get us all.
Those damn trains.
Back, you demon.
Oh, it's on the floor. Oh my god. Oh wait, is everybody okay? Everybody live?
That scared the shit out
Oh
of
my
me.
god. And that's how easy Train Away works.
Just toss it at a demon child. But how much is it?
Well, due to the current crisis that the government is having with trains, you can head on over to your local Legion and pick up some tubes for free. Just ask for Fred.
And try our new aerosol version.
Psst, psst, psst. It's great for the environment, too.
Damn.
Hello, we're back.
Hi.
I hope you enjoyed Dan's Evan and the train away. So we're back with our lore section. We're going to talk about a little bit of D&D lore here. So we figured since we're doing a player character type week, we will do some character lore and talk about a couple of important characters in the D&D books / gaming / culture
Universe.
universe.
Yeah.
They're big in all of it. Even the culture itself, they're big. So why don't I go first, because yours is a little bit more ridiculous, and there's probably
Amazing.
a lot more backstory going on now because of what happened.
Now, yeah.
So I'm going to talk about Durnan. Durnan, is the tavern owner of the Yawning Portal Inn in Waterdeep. He is also the self-appointed gatekeeper to Undermountain. He's known for having explored it. One of his quotes is, "I'll give you a free flagon of ale if you don't talk to me about the weather." He has a strong dislike for hobgoblins. Mert, who is a rogue, retired adventurer, and he made his fortune as an adventurer in the Undermountain. Mert, he says that he thinks that his family was killed by hobgoblins, his friends and neighbors as well, and that he was even left homeless because of the raids. Although Durnan has never spoken about it. So I thought that was a pretty interesting little tidbit. He's also known as the Wanderer, or the Traveler, I think it was called. The Wanderer or the One. So if you see those names throughout lore, he might be there. He fought with a dagger, a hand axe, or a longsword, and he had tremendous physical strength. But he is also known to keep at least one magical weapon / item on his person. And he also carries a mundane magical item outwardly in the open, so people know that he has a magical item. But it's not it's not his big one. He has been alive a lot longer than he probably should be. So it seems as though he might have found something that extends his life. He was known to come out of the Undermountain when he did with at least 8 potions of longevity as well. So that's probably helping.
Undermountain is crazy.
He also has a spell of turning, a few rings of spell of turning, braces of defense, and a greenstone amulets. And if you don't know what greenstone amulets are, they're actually really, really cool. So they're a green stone that is shaved down normally flat that they set it into like a frame, and it goes on a necklace. And normally people put it below their clothing because it has to touch some part of their skin for it to work. And it's basically it's basically to stop all mind spells from working on you. No one can read your mind. No one can physically overpower you, like hold persons. None of those things can work on someone with a greenstone amulet. And I was very interested because I don't think I've ever seen one before when I found all this information on them. So yeah, that was pretty cool, I thought. There's not really, he's met a lot of people who have gone through the tavern, so you'll hear his name quite a bunch. He's on the front of the book of the Tales of the Yawning Portal
because he owns it.
Exactly. And let's see. Durnan was born in the remote north. He started adventuring with Mert when the two were 10. Durnan was known as the Wanderer because he was precisely what he spent his youth doing, wandering around aimlessly killing monsters. Durnan and Mert, the Merciless, went into the Undermountain and managed to come back not only alive, but also rich. This was one of the first instances of somebody surviving a foray into Hallister's property. He used the looted wells to tear down the remnants of Hallister's hold to build the Yawning Portal Inn. He spread the information about the size and wealth that could be found in Undermountain, combined with the good location on which he built his inn. It guaranteed him his living by selling equipment to people who wanted to enter the dungeon too. Durnan retired as an adventurer. The reason for this was that he made a promise to his girlfriend at the time to come back to her when he managed to become rich. His hatred or injustice and unfairness earned him a place with the masked lords. This position of authority did not prevent him from taking matters of law into his own hand, and he led a group of vigilantes called the Red Sashes. That's his history.
Ugh. Oh,
All
me?
right. Yeah, spoiler alert for anyone that wants to watch the first season of Critical Role and Descent to Avernus. Yes.
So yes, I'm going to be giving away a major spoiler. Well, not a major spoiler in the Descent to Avernus. He's in it. I'm also going to give away a Critical Role huge spoiler because one of his quotations is, "I'm sorry, it was just business until we meet again." And then he cuts off a hand, attaches it to his own, and teleports away. Yes, I am talking about the one, the only, Arkhan the Cruel, servant of the Scaled Tyrant, also known as Joe Manganiello's player character for years and years and years. The man was in 2 episodes of Critical Role towards the end of it. He has this 5-prismed collar he can attach to animals and then dominate them and control them. So he has probably one of the worst things that a player could have from a D&D perspective. I forget what a manticore. It's a manticore. A manticore named
it's a
Chongo.
manticore. Yep.
Yeah, because they're just dickheads with tail barbs. But as they are fighting Vecna at the very end, one of the closing moments, he cuts off Vecna's hand, cuts off his own, and pops it on his, and then teleports away in such a clutch moment. They even gave him a little epilogue at a D&D thing. I think it was like 2020, 2017, somewhere around there. I was just reading it. But it shows that he went to Avernus to go help release his queen. As of a season 2 episode, I think it was like 69, you find out that he's still in Avernus trying to figure out how to unlock the powers of the Hand of Vecna so she can bring entire cities to different planes of existence. And the writer of Descent into Avernus was so enamored with that he threw him into a campaign with all of the items that he has. So he has the +3 Fane Breaker. He has the crazy collar. He has the Hand of Vecna. He even has minions. He has a death cleric who is a turtle by the name of Krull. He has Torogar Steelfist, who is a Minotaur barbarian, and quite possibly the best NPC that I was ever going to play in that entire campaign before it exploded. But I thought it was such a cool thing for a player character who's also a very, very attractive celebrity who you wouldn't expect to be the biggest geek on the face of the planet, with his own Gary Gygax memorial dungeon in his secret D&D group that has Vince Vaughn, another big dude. I don't remember his name. I think he's a linebacker.
The Big Show.
Big Show. Thank you. There it is. Shout out to the Big Show for getting
that's a football player. I forget who it is.
It's absolutely, quite possibly, it's that moment where you're like playing D&D with your friends, and then you watch Critical Role, and then you watch Joe Manganiello, who's not a voice actor and just a regular actor, do the coolest thing ever on that show, and then be immortalized in a campaign. And as a DM, I was like, wait, what? I've thrown grog into so many campaigns, but they want me to throw the okay, this will be fun. Let's see him mouth off to Arkhan the Cruel. I want that. But no, major spoiler, his storyline is he's trying to fight off like the effects of the hand. So they're trying to figure out ways to fight that. He'll give you a quest to go find a unicorn and help him so he can grind down its horn and try and fight this forever. And Tiamat is in one of the endings that you could do, but any DM knows that endings are just suggestions. Do what your players will love and will remember, and will be the best thing ever that happened in that campaign. But that's what I got to say on Arkhan the Cruel, because I thought it was real cool. Cruel. Yeah.
It was cruel and cool at the same time. Yeah. All right, I like it. I liked him before he was a D&D nerd, because he was also on True Blood. He was Alsaid, the werewolf. And I was like, that guy is the man. And so I guess I got a little man crush on him when he first started on True Blood.
Well, I mean, he is a very, very, very attractive man.
Like, yeah, Andy's very muscular.
Yeah, he was in Magic Mike. Let's just say that. Very attractive Magic Mike, Joe Manganiello. Done.
Hashtag death saves.
Brad. Hashtag Brad. Yes. He even has his own clothing line. Death saves.
A D&D clothing line.
Ridiculously priced.
Okay. So we're going to move on to our creation zone. We create and act out our skills challenge in combat tonight. /combat, if it happens. So I built a small encounter on my Game Master app here. And I need to add in some characters. So I'm just going to add in a couple of built-in characters here.
While he's doing that, everyone who's in chat, hit !Discord. If you're not in our Discord, give it a join. You can certainly talk about D&D and all kinds of things in there. For those of you that are listening on your ear potatoes, thank you for listening on your ear potatoes. Come check us out live at twitch.tv Dysfunctional Gaming TTV. We do this every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I need to keep talking because he's still doing stuff. How was your day, everybody in chat? Did you know that Arkhan the Cruel had a motorcycle-like infernal war machine that he got to ride around? That was going to be super cool.
I was looking forward. I was looking forward to making a Hellcar.
Not gonna lie, it was gonna be the worst road trip ever, and you guys were all gonna be evil by the end of the campaign. I was like, yeah, they're not gonna pass the fucking wisdom save, and they're all gonna be evil. They're all gonna be evil within like a day.
All right, so let's have you. Okay. So for our creation zone, we talked about last week that we were going to have them stealth into the bandit camp, take out the people outside, which was like 6, I think, and then there was going to be 3 inside with the captain.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes 10 altogether.
Mm-hmm.
So I built it with 9 bandits and 1 captain. And I just put in 4 or 5 character. I gotta get rid of one. We only have 4 right now. 4 characters.
Technically, we have 5. One of them's tied up.
Yes. He's not gonna be useful until we untie him. If we get there.
Yeah.
So let's roll initiative for them.
Oh boy.
I'll pull up Jamna real quick.
Okay. So for the barbarian, I'm gonna say she got a 10 on her dice. So that's a 10 on her initiative. For the paladin, who's probably also got a +0, got a 3.
So a 10.
Yep, a 3. And then for our sorcerer, 16 + 2 is an 18, so that's decent.
What was it? 18?
18, sorry.
Okay, and then roll for
That was
Carlin.
a 0 on her dexterity, right?
She has a +1.
20.
Nice. Carlin's going first. Well, actually, no. The bandits go first, but they're doing their little walk. So we're actually going to start with the party.
All right.
Moving
So
forward
they're
in
actively
initiative.
competing.
Yes.
All right. What I would like to do with Carlin, are there any small animals around?
You can give me a perception check.
Well, what I want to do is, if you say yes, I want to say, can I try and persuade them into helping us and distracting these guards?
All right. So we'll say that you're still kind of in the woods area, and Carlin kind of turns around and goes back. She saw a small. See, it's kind of dark out, so we'll say she saw an owl perched in a tree, looking down over them. It looks like it was hunting.
Hey there, Mr. Owl. Could you they've got my friends over here, and I'd really could you help us out and like kind of distract a couple of them for me, please?
Give me a animal handling or animal handling check.
Okay. 16. I rolled on the die. I don't have her stats in front of me.
I do. I have it right here. She actually, I will say nature because she's better at that.
All right, so 16 on the die.
So 18, yeah. You hear it hoo hoo back at you and fly off.
All right, yeah. I think that was good.
So you pass your first skill check or
That's
your
one.
skill competition. You see we'll move on. We'll get to the owl flying over. Up next is the 18 on the initiative.
That was all right. All right. Well, I saw that the little one who's kind of sweet and kind of means right. She went off to go talk to some owl, right? That's what she did. All right. Can I? All right. What I want to do is I'm not that bright, so I'm gonna go behind a tree and I'm gonna start hooting like an owl and go hoo hoo and make a performance check.
Yeah, go for it. Do it up.
All right. Do I have advantage? Because I just heard an owl hoo.
No, you don't have a bit. I'll give you a +1.
All right, here we go. Woo! That's a 23. Boom!
All right, yeah, you run behind the tree and let out the hoo hoo.
Woo! Woo!
Well done. Well done.
All right.
Well done. All right. Up next is the one that rolled a
Barbarian.
10.
Yeah, that'd be the barbarian. All right. Shit. I don't have a lot of skills. The guards. Can I kind of like look at their footprints around and see if there's like a pattern? Like one of them might like be away from the rest of them, so I can cut his fucking throat.
Sure. Give me a survival check.
Yeah. All right. I can do that. That's a number. Come on, fiance dice. It was 17 on the die plus 2 is 19.
Nice. Yeah, that's a success. You successfully walk over to some of the paths that they've made in their walks, and you can tell that they're kind of just circling around this one tent. And it looks like there's a spot where they all go over and take a break. Maybe like one would sit down in like a little bench off in a clearing.
All right, so I'm gonna go over that way. I'm gonna wait and wait.
Okay, so you slowly move over there quietly. All right, and it's on. Last but not least.
Can I? Well, I can see that some of these, they look like they're going around to certain ones. Could I make some sort of an insight check to see if these gods are actually going to be distracted to what these people are doing, and we have any shot of surviving this?
That's a good one. I'll give it to you. Sure.
All right. I'm probably going to roll low because I've only got a +2, and this is how paladins do. Come on. Don't Austin it. Oh, that's Jack. That's Jack there. That one's not. That's an 8.
Yeah, you're having a tough time figuring out if these things work. They're odd things that these, well, other than the dwarf, the other two are they're quite weird tactics that you're not quite used to. Knowing that you're such a great tactician, you're like, this is I'm just gonna sit back here, and you just wait. Yeah. You wait at the foot of the forest there right before it opens up, and you say, I'm just gonna wait here until Carlin gets back, and we'll go from there. Sound
reasoning, sir.
But yeah, you don't pass that one, so it's kind of you're kind of left behind for a second.
That's what it feels like to be a paladin that makes an insight check. That's bad. No, I know.
All right, so all of that happens in the first round altogether. So I'm saying that they all split off and did this all at the same time. So now I'm going to go through the bandits that are outside that will get distracted. So with how far can the sorcerer Quentin run?
I can go like 30 feet if I'm dashing, but I'm trying not to be dashing because that'll make a lot of noise.
So you just go 30 feet at half, or you go 60 feet at half speed.
I want to actually go like half speed. I want to go. Right, I want to go half speed. So I want to go like.
You'd go 15 feet away.
Yep.
And you are quiet with it because you're going half speed. Quentin runs over there. Carlin goes back into the forest a little bit, about 15 feet, because and so half speed as well. You see your barbarian kind of skirt off to the outside and hide behind like the small shack. Bless. So and then finally you see your paladin friend standing there, not sure. Quan, not sure what's going on. Looking back at and seeing the barbarian run off, she didn't say anything to me, kind of just runs away. And you hear hoo hoo, and he's like, I'm confused. So with that, you see an owl. We'll say from Quan's eyes, because he's the only one really looking over the camp still. From Quan's eyes, you see an owl swoop out of the large trees down and just kind of knock the hat off of one of the guards and fly away with it towards the opposite end of the camp. And then you hear hoo hoo from the right. And you see the man that's walking with the other man that's doing the loop, kind of stop and look over to the forest, and the other guy on the right keeps walking. You see him kind of walk and peel off, and you see the dwarf lady come up and finish him and bring him down and behind the shed. And so when he looks back, his friend's gone. He's like, Fred. And you see him turn and go walk for a bit around the rest of the camp looking for Fred. And you can hear the guy off in the distance going, "Oh, what the hell? What are we doing? Why did that owl take my hat?" So yeah, we're on to the next round. We need one more. We need one more success to finish the skill competition. 2 more fails and you're out.
All right. So we're on Carlin now, right?
Yep, back to the top.
What do I got for skills?
You have pull up her character sheet here. Where did it go? Guess it disappeared. Let's pull it back up. There we go. You have athletics, investigation, and survival.
All right. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna do something I'm gonna try and set myself up for success for a later turn. I'm gonna go up to Quan with Carlin, and I'm gonna. Okay, now I see you're over here, and you got this. We're gonna get your friend. I'm gonna try and help him and kind of give him like a little bit of a pep talk.
Okay. You can give me a. What should I have you do here? It can be a persuasion or a performance, which is still plus. They're both +2.
Okay, so I'm gonna go persuasion. Oh. 9.
Yeah, you hear Quan kind of go, yes, I know I got it. Thank you.
It was worth a shot.
All right.
Yeah, you got it.
And now it's on to Sorcerer.
All
Quentin?
right. I'm hooing behind a tree, and I hear people talking about my hooing, so I'm a little overjoyed right now. I'm feeling a little full of myself, so I'm gonna keep doing the hooing. Except since I'm a little full of myself, I'm gonna try and nimbly go to another spot behind a tree, and I'd like to do it like kind of like flashy, like acrobatically or performancy, like however you want me to do it. Like I want to look like I want to. Hold on, wait, I got it. I want to hoo like I'm an yeah, no. I want to hoo like I'm an owl still, but I want to try and like dash across the ground like I'm a wolf.
All right. You can give me a performance check. Yeah, sure. And
Okay.
but you're gonna have a -2 because you can't
Okay.
dash like a wolf.
All right, that's still good. So 19 plus 4 is 20.
Wow, well done.
Yeah.
Yeah, you passed that performance check. Go ahead. Yeah.
Woo, woo. What?
All right, sounds good. Moving on to what's her name?
Barbarian.
Jurgen Goblinbane.
All right. So this guy's been knocked out. He's no problem. Now I see his buddy looking for him, right?
Yeah, he kind of went like away though. He's like circling back around, thinking that the guy kept on his route.
All right. Do I remember the route that they took? And would there be anybody coming around this way?
You hear hoo hoo again, and then he turns and he sees this weird thing dash across, and he stops and he starts walking back towards you. He starts walking back towards you.
All right. So while he's distracted, I'd like to make an athletics check to try and dive on top of him and kind of like double axe handle smash him on the head to like comic like turnbuckle style knock him out.
Okay.
Like come on, second.
That's fine. Give me an athletics check.
All right, here we go. I've got a bloodlust. Can I go into a rage?
Sure.
Yeah.
Get it with advantage.
Yeah, I do. Ah! And there goes the element of surprise.
Well, I mean, it's still a surprise.
11.
Oh yeah, no, that passes.
Ah, yes. Woo!
Remember, they were low levels.
It was either 11 or 12, and I was like, ooh, I don't know. I played with Thundercat for a very long time.
So yeah, you pass, and with that, we have a close to the skills competition, as you guys have all passed and seem to have cleared out most of the bandits. You have one left that's kind of walking around, and we'll say that Quan goes over and just knocks him out quickly before he even has a chance to say anything. And
Where's Francis?
it's kind of like impressive to see how quickly he drops a man. Where is Throckmorton? Pump.
Where's Throckmorton? Thunk.
And yeah, so now we are stealthed into the camp. All the bandits outside are gone. So we're left with 3 bandits and the captain inside with Throckmorton. What's your plan, tactician?
The barbarian still in her bloodlust after knocking that dude out is just gonna trample through the door.
Okay.
And then everybody else is gonna file in behind her because she's on her own warpath right now.
Sounds good. We're gonna have everyone kind of split between here. Sure. Yeah, she's up. No, Jurgen's not up. It's Quan.
Okay. So Quan, then he would have taken his turn to
Hit the
kill
guy
that dude.
up to Carlin.
Yep. So it'd be up to Carlin. Can I see inside the house?
Yeah, we'll say there's one window, and then there's a
Can I-
small latch on the door that you can see through.
I'm gonna peek up, and then I'm gonna see him, and then I'm gonna whisper in his head.
Well, no, Carlin has to be lifted up.
Oh, damn it!
She is a no.
I need help. Help me, uppy.
So she's gonna hold her turn
Yep, and then
to
the
do
sorcerer-
perception or investigation. Investigation through the window.
Well, if she
Roll
can see a
perception.
person inside who doesn't look like a wizard, she wants to do an intimidation check by talking in its head and being like, "Your friends are dispatched. We can do this the easy way or the hard way."
Okay, so that's what she's gonna hold her turn to do
That's
until someone picks her up into the window. We're at your sorcerer.
He's gonna clear off all the debris on my nice clothes, and then I see Uppy, and then I'm gonna go over and give her a boost.
Okay. Give me an athletics
An
check.
athletics check. All right, here we go.
Super easy because she's not very heavy.
Hey, I rolled a 19. The sorcerer's
Yeah,
doing real
no
well
problem.
today.
It was like 6. So, yeah, you lift her up and roll me your attack. Or what do I roll? Or do I roll something? Oh, it's intimidation.
No, it's just an intimidation check. It's just in their brain because I can do that. That's what's a +2, so 12.
All right, I'm gonna roll a Constitution save to see if they don't get scared. They rolled a 3, so you see his face kind of go. He's like watching the wizard man, who's dressed extravagantly, because you finally see what he looks like. And you see the guy kind of like watching him, and then he goes,
I think it's working.
boss, and then it's on to him, and he went, okay. The captain's up. So the captain's gonna go, what the hell do you want? We're supposed to be interrogating the prisoner. And he's like, there's someone talking in my head, boss. I don't know what to do. Why are they talking in my head? She said that they took care of everybody outside. He's like, go take care of it. Go look outside, see what they're talking about. And who's talking? Wait, don't go outside. Who's talking to you? And it gets kind of weird in there for a minute, and 2 of them run out the door, right into the who would be up next? Yeah, Jurgen.
She's going through the. Yeah, they're getting it. They're getting
So she's
it.
like, as she's running faster and faster as the door opens, she jumps through. Give me 2 attacks, I guess, or give me 1 attack,
Yep.
and we'll just say it's a clothesline to both of them.
Yep. Oh yeah.
The dual clothesline.
That would be 18 for the double
Wow,
clothesline.
yeah, dual clothesline. These guys get knocked. They get knocked down pretty good, and no damage because it's a. You can only have 1 attack right now.
Yep.
letting you hit 2 people. And it's on to one of the bandits that just got knocked over. He's going to try and stand up and pull his scimitar out and whack at Jurgen.
I don't have HP. I just have stats. So But let's
What do
run
you
let's run combat for the DM perspective.
Oh,
Because now it's
okay.
about to be combat.
Yeah, so now
this
we're
is-
into combat. We'll have what's Quan want to do before the combat because he's still up.
Quan's gonna ready his actions. He's gonna get ready to. Ooh, he's a paladin. Well, I get spells at level 2. Shit. No, I'm just gonna ready my stuff. I'm gonna get
Okay.
my spear and my shield ready.
Sounds good, dude. That was fun. The
That was
next
great.
week, let's see. Story time stanza. That's the conclusion of our encounter right there. That's the story time right there. They stealthed into the camp. Stealthed into camp. Took out the bandits outside. Beginning combat. Combat inside. To save Throckmorton.
Dingleberry. Always important to say Throckmorton Dingleberry.
All right. That's our storytime stanza right there. Hashtag storytime stanza. So next week, we do DM talk. We're going to we'll finish this combat in the stanza, the creation zone / stanza next week. But we're going to be talking encounter build. Downtime activities.
That's
Because we're going to finish the combat next week. They'll be starting their downtime activities, getting back to town and figuring out what to do next. Where they need to go to get that next part of their magical weapon. So that's what we plan on doing next week. Some downtime activities from the DM's point of view. Let's talk about some outro plugs.
Hi, I'm GMPatchNasty. I also do a podcast on this lovely, lovely Twitch thing that you're on, or listening to on Spotify or Anchor or any one of those wonderful, wonderful ear potato delivery systems. It's called Stay on Brand. You should listen to it. We talk about things, and I take a topic, and then we talk about pop culture things that we know about. Last time we talked about rivalries. Yeah, we did rivalries. We talked about pizza. We talked about putting pineapples on pizza. We talked about Boston sports, and I talked about wrestling because that's what I know. That's my plug for. And then
We talked about 3.5 versus 5e too for all you
Yes,
D&D
we
nerds.
Math.
We also have Friday. We have Tips Live.
That's right. Tippy.
Our next episode of Tips Live is coming out on Friday. We are unsure what game we'll be playing. It will be either Phasmophobia or Bigfoot. So we'll see where that goes. Because the Tips Live crew is always on the scene. We have my shameless self promo, which is going to be Thundercat0420 on twitch.tv and on all Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all those good things. Follow our Dysfunctional Gaming podcasts. Follow all of our YouTubes, our Discord. Jump in there, !Discord. Patch, what about you? What do you do?
Oh, hi, I'm GMPatchNasty. I have a mustache. I play video games. Twitch.tv/GMPatchNasty. Currently, I was playing video games. I don't remember what I was playing, but I was having a blast doing it. You should come have a blast with me. Twitch.tv/GMPatchNasty. You can also find me at GMPatchNasty on Instagram, at GMPatchNasty on TikTok. I have a TikTok. No, it's Aaron Patchell. AARONPATCHELL. Yeah, that's right. You got a name. Look me up. Yeah, that's me. I have a mustache. I have hair. I wear fake glasses, so I look smart.
And I'm Thundercat0420. This has been Dysfunctional Gaming's Talking D&D from the DM's perspective, episode 7.
PC. Player characters this week.
Oh yeah, PC characters. Yeah. Sorry, player characters this week. Next week's DM. No. Anyways, we're gonna start over to a raid. We appreciate you all for being here, smooches and boops.